Scoria. Scoria, Scoria, Scoria. Okay, let's make sure everyone's watching, everyone knows. This is the thing. Maybe not do it on there. Okay. Hello everyone, hello, hello, hello. Well, nobody's watching at the moment, so hello to me, I guess. How is everyone doing? How am I doing? Well, if you're watching this back, right, so for today, got a bit of a treat. Scoria. So I've stuck this guy together, and I will be priming him up, and I wanted to give you guys the first opportunity to actually look at this thing. It is a beast of a piece. Beast of a piece? Yeah, that kind of works. Right, so let me just start by saying just how much of a technological marvel this thing is. The engineering it takes to produce something like this is unbelievable. So let's pop this off to the side to begin with. It's such a beautiful piece just to look at, just to experience. It's not as hard to put together as you may initially think. You have to make sure that these are clipped off, and you make sure that you clip them off in the right order. So on each one of these is a little alphanumerical key. I'm making this sound a lot more difficult than it actually is. Read the instructions. Don't clip these portions off until you've read the instructions. Read them through first, otherwise you'll end up with a little bit of difficulty. So we've got that. The base itself is surprisingly big. So if we compare it to, say, a normal marine, we can see just how overwhelming this base is. It's huge and it's heavy. It is very heavy. So I haven't placed it on the plastic base because this is actually bigger than the plastic base it sits on. But you can see tons of tiny little details. Absolutely beautiful. Perfect for advanced modelers. I would recommend this for advanced modelers over new modelers purely because of the kind of washing that the kit needed to go through and the preparation. Pop him off to the side. And we have Scoria himself in all his malign magnificence. Oh wow, we've got a lot more people than I thought would be on. I thought you'd all be out enjoying the sun. I hope you can all hear me. Looks amazing, good. Ah, brilliant stuff. So, I can see everyone, thankfully. Brilliant stuff. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, now is the time to ask them. Shoot them through. If you want to see anything else I've got on my desk currently, I have a Janisha Kroll that I've been putting together. Let me know if you'd want to see her painted up as part of the seminar series. So, Kroll and Scoria will be part of the 4K $15 tutorial set. It's just I haven't painted them up yet. It'll take a couple of months to be released. So see this guy, just how beautiful he is. Right, a little announcement at the start of the stream. A place for one-to-one tuitions has just opened up. It just opened up before we went on live today. So if you were interested in developing your skills in a one-to-one environment where I'd be solely concentrated on developing you as an artist, where we could go through color theory, brushwork, airbrushing for $70 per month, you'll be able to gain access to all the previous tier levels, so all the 4K tutorials, all the PDF tutorials, the back catalogue, and we'd also open up 2 lessons per month that we can concentrate on developing you as an artist. But enough plugging myself. How is everyone? Oh, hello. Oh, wow. Cool. Got really nice. Hey, how is everyone? Everybody else, what are you all working on? So, Scoria. This guy's part of the, please correct me if I'm wrong, part of the Dark Mechanicum, or what would become the Dark Mechanica. At the moment, they are just the Mechanicum. They don't bow down to the Signs of Terror or the Adeptus Mechanicum. So these guys are very much in the mould of the original, maybe what the Martian Empire used to be rather than what it became later on in the Great Crusade. This guy, he is part of the Zana Mechanicum Forge World, I believe, and he seems to be a bit of a mad scientist. I mean, anybody who turned himself into a crazy scorpion man I don't think he's all there to begin with. So speaking of beginnings, let's prime this thing. So as with anything else, if you guys have seen any of these other shows, any of these other programs, this stuff, Black Negro, the surface primer from Scale 75, I swear by this stuff. Absolutely adore it so much. Right, so let's package up. Put on the black gloves. You're not professional unless you have black gloves. So let's do this. To begin with, I'm using thinner. So I always put the thinning agent in first. So when the paint goes in second, it's not running straight to the bottom and clogging up the rest of your airbrush. The thinning agent I'm using is it's Games Workshop's Forge World's thinning medium that's unfortunately no longer available. I have some of the Scale 75 stuff to test out, it's just purely I haven't gotten around to testing it yet. The airbrush I'm using is the Iwata HPCH, and you might be able to see me in the cap. Hello everyone. I'm using a different compressor today. I'm giving it a whirl, Spar Max. Okay. So let's make sure this is all okay. So sadly, Firestorm will see stock in Scale 75. Oh, that's such a shame. Oh, damn. Yeah. Well, there are other places to get it, unfortunately, so we'll be going further afield. You can get straight from the Scale 75 website. So nice even coverage. When it comes to larger miniatures like this, what you may find is that some of the mold release agent really sticks to it very hard. So in order to prepare your miniature beforehand, you could just give it a spray of Halford's car spray. The grey I found to work really well. So I'm not going to do the back purely because I don't think you guys would really appreciate me using this time to airbrush the back of a base. I won't be painting the base today. May touch on a couple of the metallics that are on the surface here. Look at this base. Such a good base. Okay, so that's it for that. Pop that off to the side. Scoria himself. So I'm just going to hold this at the base. Now, if I was a prepared human being, I would have pinned this thing to a cork to make handling so much easier. But the primary focus of this is not to hit up Scoria in today's lesson. It's mainly to have a look at his scorpion appendages. Now, the majority of this miniature, well, I think the key thing for this miniature will be the black cloaks. So you can see already a little bit of bubbling happening under there. No need to panic, no need to worry, just leave it set, or leave it set. And I may tackle it again off the camera. So the reason why the bubbling occurs is the mold release agent. Sometimes the mold release agent works itself into the actual sculpt itself, making it slightly rubbery. So if this ever does occur, it is worth contacting Forge World for a replacement part, because it's very rare that those parts ever set. But that's not the case here. It's just a case of mold release agent being present that just would not come off when cleaning. So to clean Forge World miniatures, I would highly recommend using hot soapy water, but let's face it, that stuff doesn't really cut it. To really get rid of the stuff, I want you to use Swarfiga. So it's the stuff you use to get oil and grease off your hands. Buy some of that stuff, works perfectly. So if you are watching live for the first time, if you're watching this for the 100th time, please leave a message in the YouTube comment section or pop up on screen. I feel a lot less like a murderer than like a closet serial killer. So with a complicated miniature like this, it's very easy to kind of become lost in all the detail and get that slight note of panic. Hell, where do I even begin with this thing? Well, it's a common occurrence, don't need to worry, you're not alone in that. Begin by priming it. It is nice priming it by hand, purely because it allows your eye to settle on certain areas, gives you a chance to really appreciate the sculpt. it lets you know exactly where you need to focus on the details, etc. And it just allows you a little bit of time just to drink in all these details and start to plan out mentally map out where to place the shadows and highlights. So when it comes to a very complicated miniature like Scoria, where do you even begin? Well, for me, it all starts with analysing exactly what the dominant colour of the piece will be. With this rig, I feel like the dominant colour will actually be the metallics. So I'll be airbrushing this primarily with metallics today. And from there, when it comes to the brush stage, that's where I'll come in with oil washes, pin washes, etc., just to break it up. But from what I can see, the majority of this will be metallic, so I'll hit it with metallic. If you are still confused of exactly where to place shadows, highlights, all the rest of it, give it a white highlight from directly above, so you can see exactly where the shadows and highlights would hit or naturally form on the miniature. Another note we need to bring up when painting Scoria. So this is actually something I've been talking with Mike. He's known as Mike Fellhand on forums and on Facebook. I've been chatting about how to get the best from his own Mechanicum scheme. Now he wants to go for a very dark Mechanicum scheme, which is absolutely great, like a dark, really dark Mechanicum. A lot of redundancy in that sentence. And we were discussing, okay, so you want dark metallic and you want kind of like a dark pattern for the casings, for the decoration. And that would lead to an overall very unsatisfying look to the rest of the vehicle. But we can't exactly paint this guy in very bright colours. So what do? Again, we're stuck between that rock and the hard place. Do we want contrast, or do we want something more realistic? Well, he brought up whether you should go with light metallics. You can absolutely do that. Go with light metallics. Alternatively, don't paint the metallic aspects of this in silver. Why not paint it up in bronze? Or maybe a darker brown colour. Something where you can use a lot of washes, a lot of oils, etc. to get the best from it. So it's all this line of thinking. It's worth doing this thinking before you actually hit up the project. And a great way of doing this is keeping these little inserts. Now I know this is for Alfarius, but you kind of even just airbrush on here. Okay, what do these look like with black armor, say? And you could just kind of mentally map out what the predominant colour scheme will be. Again, this isn't a perfect way of doing it. It's more about getting that abstract thought out into some kind of reality to see whether it actually bears fruit or actually works at all. Right, so as I'm doing this, please feel free to comment. I'm going to look over in a couple of seconds. Got some hot discussion going on in the comments. Speaking of hot discussions, how have you guys been dealing with this heat wave we've been having in Britain at the moment? I really feel for the Australians having to develop wet palettes and keep their paint wet for longer and not have dry tips so often. It's something I've advised previous people, but I've always done it from kind of like a scholarly sense. I haven't experienced it until recently of the frustration you guys must feel whenever you develop a wet palette, you put paint on it and it just explodes into flames. Or guys in Texas or any very warm areas. I mean, there's a reason why this hobby was invented in the UK. It's very much a reason why this was invented in Britain, because we're a cold weather people. We're a wet weather people. Okay. So in order to save a bit of the scale 75, just going to pop this into the airbrush. And we will begin concentrating on the body of the metallics. So I'm going to clean this out. I'll read your comments. While I do so. Oh wow! Whoa! Okay, load of comments. Good, excellent stuff. I don't feel so so alone in this. So like like some kind of psychotic, mumbling to myself. Okay. So Tim Sanders still finishing Space Wolves. Nice. Post up some pictures to me. I'd love to see progress on them. And a 75mm Samurai, definitely send me pictures of that. Keith, working on some Sons of Horus. Damn right you are. Keep on track with those Sons of Horus. So, Keith is, like many of us, a bit of a hobby butterfly, kind of flits from project to another. So we have been very much focusing in on what he can do to achieve with his Sons of Horus. How do you go about doing this? Well, making a list is a big thing. So I think Harvard did an academic study of this. I'm just completely making this up. It's something I read on a Facebook page, so it could be completely false for all I know. But people who write lists down are 71% more likely, again, that's a made-up statistic that I'm half remembering, half making up to support my point, 71% more likely to achieve those goals. So make sure you do make a list of what you need painted and what you need to achieve, and that way, magically, it will happen. Wish it, want it, do it. Okay, never put Swarfiga on someone's tea. Yeah, definitely don't do that. Yeah, so so Sam is an event organizer in South Wales, Rune Nation event. Have a look on Facebook for them. He books all the paint courses I do around that area. If you are interested in the paint course, we did have something planned for the end of August. Unfortunately, life conspired against us. But at the end of the year, hopefully, there will be a full course on a very special subject. Don't want to release anything yet until it's actually put into the books. But if you are interested in me coming to your local and putting on a paint course, either 1 or 2 day, please hit me up via littlelegendstudio@gmail.com. If you're interested in just learning how to paint, a place has just opened up on the Patreon for a 2-month, two lesson a month course has just opened up. Just before we came on, they're quite hard to get. They sell out very, very quickly. Good luck to anybody who does go for one. Right. Yep. After. Oh, hiya, Mike. How you doing? Don't let work catch you sneaking off. Right. Good. Good. Working on night at the moment. Kind of driving me insane. Yeah, I feel you with that. Yeah. Right up. Metallics with this thing. So, Mike, if you're still listening, how to go about tackling the metallics on this thing. Right. For the actual image, the Zana color scheme is quite a bright, neutral bone color that has some really nice embellishments produced by the Forge World painting team. It's something I hope to emulate with this work, but I would like to make the metallics a little bit more developed, a little bit more greasy, a little bit more in tune with what I'd like to do with it. So to begin the silvers, I'm not actually going to start with a silver. I'm going to start with a color. Cool. So I'm going to go with pale burnt metal. So this color, it kind of is reminiscent of the gold produced by Vallejo. So just by having a small amount of color in here, it gives us a bit more room to maneuver later on down the line. We can introduce blues and greens in the top highlights to contrast with the warm base. So just going to pop that off to the side, give this a damn good shake. So Mike, what I'd recommend, if you were thinking of going for that very dark grey scheme, instead of using silver for the metallics, consider using brass or bronze or some other goldish colours to offset the greys that you're using. Right. To this, I'm going to add some Hull Red and a very, very small pinch of either black or very dark grey. Flat black, I don't really want that. Intense violet, no. Black ink, that'll do. So black ink by intensity, just a tiny amount of black just to calm this all down, just to darken it all down slightly. Oh, I need a big muscle to get rid of that. Get it off. Okay, a couple of dots. Let's mix this up, see what we end up with. Oops, sorry, just knocked the camera. Good. So it kind of looks like a bronze that Achilles wore in Troy. Well, you know, the actor playing him. It's that kind of very cold bronzy colour. Now I can see a minute, can you see this thing down here? I'm not sure it'll come up on the camera. This bloody thing here that just got onto the airbrush. So because we're using a warm base, this gives us lots of options moving forward. We can introduce greens into the metallic pigment later on to contrast with it, or we could just go pure silver and just use black and white essentially to highlight it. And this will give an overall more greasy, realistic appearance. It will give somewhat of a non-metallic earth appearance where the bronze is picking up on the earth and the dirt around it. God, imagine if you could paint this thing in non-metallics. Someone will do it. Someone insane will do it. For this Horus Heresy, we want to go for a very, I believe the term, grim-industrial appearance, and that's what we're trying to do here. Dark, gritty, nihilistic. If this was a Russian morality play, it would look like Scoria. So because I'm not exactly sure which portions I want to be the enamel of the Zana colour scheme, and which I want to be like this base silver, I'm just going to coat the majority of the miniature. I know these sections will be in the Zana scheme, so I'm not so concentrated on building the highlight there. So holding this thing is a little bit of a bugger, but again, where exactly do you pin this? There's no clean answers here, so I'm just going to hold this dark fire lance. I believe that's what it's called, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not very familiar with Mechanicum, Adeptus Mechanicus. Yes, apparently they did exist, the Adeptus Mechanicus did exist in the Horus Heresy, when they weren't having a say at the table. With the writer, so there is a radio drama. Please guys chime in if you know the name of it. But on the promo, it was, I think Laurie described it as Brexit with Titans. Okay, that's the base coat done. So, I will pop the, oh that's such a nice colour, it feels like such a shame to waste. Let's pop this into, so I've got one of these bases. The load of sand in it. I wonder how long it will exist. Do you know what? I'm not going to waste this. I'm not going to waste this. I'm going to airbrush pieces on this guy. I know I said I wasn't going to, but I am a hypocrite. So, black cloak, Zana scheme here. So I don't need to concentrate on there. Oops. Okay. Looks like he has a little pink gut under there. I'd love to paint that. I like a really blotted, floated, blotchy appearance, very Blanchesque. Lots of bees there, lots of information. Okay, let's pop that off to the side, allow that to fully dry. And the base. Now because this colour, I've kind of fallen in love with this colour a little bit, I can't help it. So I'm just going to begin the detailing here. Now this is a horrible idea because the mechanical spider, scorpion thing, I wanted to stand out. But airbrushing aspects of it onto the base, not a very wise idea if I wanted it to stand out. Oh, to hell with it. Nobody ever said I was a smart man. Okay. Let's give this a once over, make sure I haven't missed anything. Scorpion claws. Once over spray. Good, okay. Yeah, somebody write that recipe down for me, please. That was a really good colour. Miles' new favourite colour. Right, let's pop that, let's empty out the airbrush. give you a chance. So what's everybody working on? Have you been dealing with the heat okay? What projects do you have going in? Everyone gearing up for Titanicus. So if you're not a patron already, now is the perfect time to sign up because I'll have so much Titanicus content coming on the channel. So much. We'll be going through how to produce. Well, I'm gonna keep that all secret. Actually, I'm gonna keep that secret. I don't want the competition getting the jump on me. But there will be so goddamn much Titanicus coming in the next few months. Binary succession. Thank you very much, Sam. Yeah, let me know what you're working on. And better yet, send me photos of if you're working on anything. If you've worked on anything through the Patreon, shoot it over. I'd love to see what you guys are up to. Okay, so we have the base coat done for the Scorpion. I'm going to hit this with a hairdryer. Just blast the hairdryer. So I did that off camera. I don't want it blowing the rest of the paints around. Okay. So on top of this, where do we go from here? So we have red in the undertone, red in the base. What's the complementary colour to red? TikTok, let me know guys. What's the complementary colour to red? If my students get this wrong, I'm going to despair. You shouldn't get it wrong, you can just look it up on Google. Right. So enough of that. Green is the complement to red. Well, more accurately, purple is the complement to green. But anyway, let's not get bogged down on color theory semantics. Just dropped on there. Emerald Alchemy. So this is a color I used in the previous lesson where we looked at knight armatures, especially the armor marks there. We do run the risk of making the armor look awfully bright when we do use this, but use it sparingly and we use it on top of another color, it'll go very nicely for us. So just going to add a tiny amount of Emerald Alchemy. Again, scale 75 color, that's sadly no more at Firestone Games. Right, so let's get a dark, so one of my favorite colors from the Vallejo metallic range, magnesium. Give this a damn shake. Ooh, Griffin is working on a Griffin Lerman. He's working on a Primaris chapter. Very cool. Right. Just mix these two together. Wow, I did not expect that. It's kind of like a really look at that. Almost like a RoboCop. No, the classic RoboCop. The one that was really way too violent and the one I should not have seen when I was 12 years old. Right, so I'm just going to add this onto the highlights. So a really good place. I want that slightly more bronze, I feel. Let's concentrate. Oh, do you know what? I've just seen another bloody thing I should have cut out. So you see in here, that portion should have been cut out beforehand. Okay. So let's concentrate on this piece here. I'm trying to create a line going from here to here, just across there. Sorry, the airbrush just clogged up a little bit. Of course it would. Let me just fiddle around with this. here. Let's get these cables. Scorpion. Just want to catch the very outer edge. So incidentally, kind of like all the silvers appeared at the top. I really like that faded pattern. So I want more of a bronze towards here and fade into a warm silver. This is just a generalized spray. I can come in with the brush later on to give some of these rivets, some of these metallic aspects a bit more personality, or maybe even just a different colour entirely. But right now I'm just sketching things out, relying on what I know about colour theory to develop a very interesting blend. If you would like to learn more about colour theory, a space has just opened up on the 2 lessons per month course. Perfect time to dive in with Titanicus around the corner and with Malevolence on the horizon. All those new Knife Gaunt miniatures, and because of the massive response of the marble tutorial I posted up, that little video, that was incredibly overwhelming. I did not expect that kind of response. So I've started to refilm some of the marble tutorials that I've done, and there will be standalone videos. They won't be in with others. They will just be standalone: how to paint black marble, how to paint white marble, etc. And that will be coming either at the end of next month or the month after. The rest of this month, Alfarius. We'll be concentrating on the true metallic version of Alfarius, and there will be an exclusive video for all patrons next month of a non-metallic scheme, and that's for that month only. It won't be available again. So a really good time to sign up if you haven't already. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir a lot of times. Yeah. Again, another line, just creating lines here. Wherever I feel. So I'm using, actually it's a really weird thing, I'm using the camera, I'm looking at the camera in front of me to see where the natural shine occurs, and I'm just tracing out the lines that I can see. That's that. Right, it might be worth actually focusing in on the claw. Again, I'm looking at, let's see if we can get this a little bit closer. Sorry, excuse me guys for the moment. Let me just, let's focus in on this. So you can see where the light develops on this claw here. I'm going to develop it myself with the airbrush. Just the top and underneath here. So whenever you're working with metallics and you're unsure where to place your shadows and highlights, it is always worth taking a photograph of it under a single strong light source and then just tracing around what the image tells you. So I can see here the light bounced primarily up here. It will fade into this orange colour. I may fade it to a little bit more black towards the end, and vice versa here. So that's what I'm trying to achieve with all of these claws. I'm analysing them, I'm seeing where the light naturally hits, and I'm trying to recreate. So how many guys were lucky to pick up Scoria? Is it last week? Yeah, it was only a week ago, goddamn. It was a bit of a fly-in visit to Warhammer World last week for me. I had to get back for the missus. Little ball and chain. So it's in, out, and I'm so busy as well. If you have any questions about the open day, please feel free to shoot them through, and I'll do my best to answer them in my very odd, stuttery, uncertain manner. Okay, I really like the light going towards the top, then fading into bronze. Again, creating lights here, so I'll keep that consistent. Still not sure what to do with this dark fire cannon. I may paint the majority of that black. So for now, I'm just giving this kind of like a very rough highlight, just to give me an idea of what I want to do with it later on. That's a few claws, 2 more claws. Okay, done. The inside. So when you start to break it down into its individual pieces, it's not that difficult. It's just a lot of cogs, a lot of mechanical pieces that we can give an overall universal sketch layer to. We can focus in on some more of the individual details later. So in order to break it up, because there's a lot of dense metallic work here. Say on the rivets, I don't have to keep these silver. I could come back later on with a brush and maybe black them in, make them look soot-born, soot-tired. Okay, soot-tired. I wonder if that's the actual thing, or whether I just made it up. Okay, so that's that done. Okay, get rid of another beautiful ass colour that we've developed. Anything on here I want to get? Okay. Don't worry, I'm aware of that little flappy bit there. Surprisingly durable, considering the parts are so thin. It's an incredible sculpt. Right, as I empty this out, let's have a look what you guys have been up to. Oh wow, a lot of good. So Ed's painted. How are you doing, Ed? Primaris Reavers. Then go on to Night Lord Centurionless. Very cool. Very cool. Johan, hate the heat. Fled to the north of the Pole Circle. Found a couple of heads to practice on. So Johan is one of my students. We went through a very unusual method to paint skin tones. It's kind of like a WTF moment where in miniature painting, I like throwing curveballs at my students. So introducing what we know of colour theory and blending, and what we've developed through the PDF series about developing realistic skin tones. Go away for general release. Sorry, Sam. Great. Oh, hi, Rich. How you doing? Practicing loaded brush tonight on Noise Marines. Excited night gaunt tips. Yeah, I need to grab some of those, post them up online. But I feel like a lot of people will be doing that, so not sure whether to ride the bandwagon on that one or whether to. But they are beautiful marbles. So much to paint, so little time. Right, so would a Loyalist Mechanicum be the same paint scheme as you're doing? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Or different to be brighter, something along the lines of that. It can absolutely. So the Mechanicum as an organisation, they no means, for I understand, a unified entity. They have their own idiosyncrasies, they have their own things going on. Each forge world, depending on how large it is, how isolated it was in the dark age of technology, would have developed their own things, their own ticks. So yep, absolutely. Gavin, good morning. Good afternoon, Gavin. How are you? Rightio. So to highlight this a bit further, got me some white aluminium. This is probably a little bit too bright, come to think of it. Dark aluminium. There you go. Read my mind. Too light, brilliant. Just use dark aluminium. Okay, so I'm just going to pop some dark aluminium. Weirdly enough, this is too dark. Of course it would be. I'm going to add some pale burnt metal to this because it is a slightly higher silvery gold. And this will be the highlight. So as you can see, this is a lot more neutral than our previous colours, which were slightly more saturated. They had colours in them. But I'm just going to put a very small pinch of white aluminium in there. as well, just to brighten it up slightly. It's a lot more neutral. I'm going to begin highlighting this thing. Just a line vertically down it. Same here. Same here. Okay. So I'm going to go on developing, especially on the claw. Towards the top. See how close I can get it actually. Oh, ultra zoom. Sorry if I go a little bit quiet here. I need to concentrate on those very fine motor neuron skills I've been developing to paint mechanical claws. I don't know what it is, I really want crab. I think it'd be a lot easier for me to get because I live by the sea. It takes a bit of preparation grabbing crab. Damn, I really want crab. Oh, so here's something I can prattle on about. If you don't listen to the Age of Darkness podcast, shame on you. It is a podcast that I help present with Mark and JP, two intrepid Canadians, but don't keep it against them, they're good sorts. We are launching a competition, Alternate Heresies. So pick a point of divergence along the heresy timeline. So, for example, what if the lion was found first instead of Horus? And develop the storyline from there. So have the story, develop it, send it in to us in a video format, no longer than 6 minutes long. We've been very, very strict this time around on that. No longer than 6 minutes long. And you could win the Grandmaster version of Titanicus. We're giving away a box set, full box weight, completely and utterly gratis. That's the best winner. And this is completely subjective, based on our own whims and opinions. But we'd love to get as many different people involved as we possibly could. And who hasn't had those kind of pub conversations? What would happen if? Go from there. Send it in and win yourself a Titanicus box set. So I'm just highlighting the blue we've just done. As you can see, so the blue doesn't look as tremendous now. It doesn't really stand out as much as our previous layer did. That's because we've neutralized it with this silver. So even though it looks very, very blue at the moment, we can neutralize this very easily by highlighting it with silver, and there you go. You're not special anymore. Okay. Yeah, I've been fighting the urge to do this. Just pretend it's a scorpion. Let's bring this out. Where are you? Let's highlight this a bit more. Any Dark Mechanicum players here? Any true Mechanicum players here? Will you be using Scoria in your own lists? Do you have any of your own conversions? I know that a gentleman from Greetings from the War, he did an amazing, I believe, Matt Marlowe, I know your second name, it's either Matt or Rich Marlowe. I'm awfully sorry I've forgotten your first name. I think at events everyone's just called you Marlowe anyway, so that's what I picked up on. But you've done an amazing conversion using Belisarius Call and a Necron Crypt Walker. Well, butchering that. There you go. All I want to do is just final pass, especially of these mechadendrites. Okie dokie. I think that's good. Good, 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 good. So neutralized it down somewhat. It still has that blue sheen to it, but it has that really nice kind of like smoky interior to it. I sound like I'm rating a steak now. So like this. Okay. Highlight, highlight, highlight. Good. Evil Overseer. Achieved. Let's go back to this. So let's develop a highlight. You know, I may even paint these in a color rather than keep them like this. I can use some chipping fluid over the top just to bang them up a bit more, damage them. Really not sure what to do with this at the moment. It's more that I have paint in here and I feel guilty wasting it. Okay, pop that out. Just going to empty out the airbrush. Okay, next layer. We're going to be doing something a little bit unusual, like we haven't been doing so already, right? As I do, I'm just going to check out the comments. Matt Marlowe, thank you, Sam. Thank you. I knew it was one or the other. Have you read the Dornian fanfic? Indeed, yes, we have. It's big, so that's the reason why we launched this competition. We held it last year. We were so enthralled by the what if, the counterfactual scenarios, that we wanted to do our own. We wanted people, well, we wanted people to ring in, tell us their counterfactuals, and go from there. So if you've got a really good alternate heresy, get in touch. You could win yourself a goddamn Grandmaster Titanicus. It's like 150, 180 quid. Free, gratis. Ollie doesn't play heresy but loves Dark Mech. Yeah, who doesn't? I can't wait for the sculpts. Can't wait for some of the more unusual, weird sculpts to come out from Forge World. Johan, starting Mechanicus army and plan using Scoria. It's an awesome, yeah, goddamn beautiful model. Only issue is power level. They make it a bit fairer in the FAQ though. Okay, good, that's a bit. Holy hell, we got so many people watching. Thank you so much. If you're new watching, please leave a message. Post it up in the YouTube comment section and you'll see yourself pop up on screen. Say hello if you're new for the first time. Love meeting new people. Just threw the paint I needed across the room. Just bear with me one moment. Hopefully I don't smash anything else over. Good. Okay, so what are we doing next? Because this is a Mechanicus vehicle, or Mechanicum vehicle, imagine they got all sorts of crazy stuff going for them, right? All kinds of crazy different technologies, stuff that is very uncommon in the wider universe. With these uncommon technologies would come some pretty gnarly sheen effects with the metallics. So I'm going to try combining Martian green on top of this, because why not? Now, I haven't done this previously. This could be a big mistake. But you know what? So this stuff is color shift paints done by Green Stuff World. Give it a damn good shake. And the aim of these, what you do is, traditionally, you put these on a gloss black surface. You add 2 to 3 very thin layers built up one on top of another. And this will create an instant transition between them. So when you roll it around in the light, you'll get different light effects and you'll see different colors. If you want to see a classic example of how this stuff was used, there is an earlier video where we developed this in the Dark Eldar scheme. I have also put together a side video, just testing stuff. It's me spraying spoons, basically. As wonderful of a video as that would be, I think I'll release it more like a technical instructional video rather than as a main premiere release on the Patreon, because who the hell would want to pay to see me painting spoons? Some very sick individuals, that's who. Right, so I'm just going to load this up into the airbrush. I have seen this done by Brian Hartley. He is a Iron Hands player, and he's done this for some really cool heat bloom effects on the end of guns. But I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to do that with the central core. So my aim is to try and airbrush this around that outer rim a little bit, so I can spray a little bit more. I'm going to be a bit cheeky. Do that. So I have no idea whether this will work or not. I hope it will, because I don't like looking like an idiot on live in front of tens of people. Okay, I'm just going to wipe off any excess. No, consummate professional I am. Just take your thumb and wipe it off. Right, I'm going to hit that with a hairdryer. I'm going to put another layer on. So the colour I'm using is Martian green. I suspect I haven't because it's kind of awfully purple and there's no green effect to it. So I suspect it is because I haven't shaken up the paint enough. So let's give this a damn good shake. Shake, shake, shake. Look like a shake weight commercial. This is why I don't film myself during these things. Right, okay, let's try this again. That's better, you can see the green coming through it now. So this stuff does work much, much better on the black base coat. So I'm not expecting miracles from this stuff. I just want in the kind of like outer rim, I want that greenish purple effect to occur. It's getting there. It is getting there. Okay, let's hit this again, the headlight. Ooh, sorry about that, guys. Should probably shield the ears with that. Take a brush. Sorry if the tail is in the way. Okay, we've got a slight sheen in there. Good. Not one more for luck. Why not? Oh, it's really coming out now. Good. Now, the aim of this paint is to have it instead of maybe oil or rust stain. I want this to be where. What's the word I'm looking for? Where dirt accrues. When that turquoise stuff develops on iron. Okay. It's more like it. Good. It's still very, very purple at the moment. I'm going to allow it to dry. Hit it with a hairdryer again. Good. Now, I do very much want this section to be bronze here. I want to keep that bronze. So what we need to do is we introduce a bit of the bronze. For this, what better colour to use than copper? Right, for this, I want to give the impression that this is a textured surface. This has really been beaten up, bashed around. I don't want it to just be a very clean paint job. I want it to be beaten up. So we go with sponge chipping. Now, it's one of these techniques you've seen a billion times before on a million different videos, probably. It's going to be slightly different in that we aren't using Games Workshop sponge. So you could get yourself down to an art store, you could buy this natural sponge. And this stuff is great, especially on larger surface areas, because you can rip it up and it comes in all different kinds of textures and gradients. And you can actually wash this stuff, so you can reuse it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some copper, pop it on the bottom of a base, just a spare base that I have. How long's the video? I don't like running over an hour normally. How long have we got? Oh, 54 minutes. Okay. It's going to be slightly longer. Hope you guys forgive me. But I'm quite getting into this. So, Rich said, anyone have any luck with these colour shift paints for Alpha Legion? Oh, yes. Oh, God, yes. Right. Sorry, the tail's in the way. What I can do as well, I just want to slightly moisten the sponge, slightly wet it. So when you rip off the sponge, I would recommend ripping hard edges on it as well. That way you could get into some really precise areas. Yeah, with the colour shift paints in Alpha Legion, I think they work best in combination with the traditional scheme. On their own, I do find that they don't offer very good coverage, but when you combine them with a more traditional way you paint Alpha Legion, that's where I think you have a winner. So you can see when we move around that green coming through, I just want that sitting in the background, sitting in the underneath. I don't want this to dominate. Primarily I don't want the purple dominating. Let's see. Okay. Just got tweezers. Why is tweezers plural? It's two tweezers. It's one entity. You don't call Siamese twins Siameses, do you? Siamese twins? Do you call them twins? Anyway. Back to things I do know about. Or at least pretend to. Painting. So gently popping this on here. Good. Pale burnt metal. Oh. Quickly grab that before it gets gobbled up by the copper. So I'm just tapping this out on the surface. I don't want to overload the sponge with this. Sorry, that scorpion tail keeps getting in the way. Okay. Just a little bit more. Good. See how bright that's come out. Good. Okay, so that's it for the central core. I wanted to make that look... I don't want to make it look like a glowing effect, because I think with Horus Heresy you can run the risk of them making looking quite cheesy. But the stained, oiled, discoloured tempo to the armour, I think is entirely appropriate. And you can still see some of that green-purple shine coming through. I may apply a bit more turquoise into the inner layers there. Good. All in all, I'm trying to give a very unsettling feel to the armour, to make it look like it's been discoloured by the sins of the weapons that these guys wield. Okay, let's empty out my airbrush. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for joining me for this. If you were interested in learning more, this will be available to review via the Patreon for Patreon students, Patreon pledges. So I've just added some thinner to this. I wonder if I can use more of the green has come out. I wonder if I can use it as a wash instead. Okay, I'm just going to leave that settle. If you were interested in learning more, a space has become available on the 2-lesson-a-month slot, so we can develop your skills with airbrushing, painting, skin tones, colour theory, the lot, and it's all from the comfort of your own home. I do this full time, so no matter where you are in the world, we can accommodate you. I teach Australians. I mean, Rich, you can testify to this, you're in Japan. So I teach from people from all places. Okay. what's the name of the podcast? It's the Age of Darkness podcast, 30k podcast. And I do a bit on there every couple of weeks called Painting Black and Other Colours. Because at the beginning we ran into the trope that every Legion I had to describe how to paint black. I had to come up with new inventive ways to paint the same colour over and over and over again. So painting black and other colours. Something I think you'll enjoy. And so if you thought demonstrating these techniques via camera was difficult, try and describe them without the visual cues. So I'm going to hit this with a hairdryer. Sorry for the noise. Solomon, can you remind me what's got planned for the Patreon next couple of weeks, months ahead? So, next month, end of next month, Titanicus. That is just going to dominate for a long while. Lots and lots of video content on that. Seminars, PDFs. Just going all flat out on that. The rest of this month we'll be examining Alfarius with true metallics. It'll be bleeding into next month. We'll be looking at non-metallic, and that will be an exclusive video only for next month. Then as we go into November, December, we're looking at your favourite silver. We are looking at Emperor's Children, unless anything else crazy pops up. But if you were interested in painting Emperor's Children, we do have a PDF tutorial already up for you guys. So I would like to circle around all the legions before coming back and revisiting ones we've done previously. But there are videos prepared, they just need a release slot. So that's what we got coming up. Right, so let's develop this metallic a little bit more. We have the base tones, we have the highlight, but it's looking awfully shiny and new. Not very Mechanicum-esque a lot at all. So to begin the airbrushing process for this, we will be using a touch of Hull Red, a touch of black. Do you know what? I'm not going to use... Yeah, we're going to use Hull Red. We're going to use some blue ink in there as well. Why blue ink? Well, it was next to me. We could use blue if you wanted. In fact, just to show, let's go with that because they're interchangeable. Touch black. I know it's a long video, guys. Thank you for sticking with me. Normally, I like to keep these like quite short and sharp for people to view, but I'm on the very last bit of the airbrushing stages, so we leave it after we've done the shadows. I know you guys watching live can watch it all day, but when reviewing this, I know watching long videos can be a little bit tedious. Okay. Because who has time to really sit down and watch an hour's video on anything? If I could do like a neural uplink, the Matrix, that would be cool, that would be ideal. Weirdly enough, in the Facebook group we have gone on for Patreon members, I was asked whether I can send bits of my brain to top fans, or top fans. That was probably the weirdest request I've ever had of me. I can give you some toe clippings if you want, if you really want, or some hair, I don't know. But anyway, so that's slightly too blue. It's always worth airbrushing these kind of things on a piece of paper first to see exactly what they look like. I want a lot more red in there. A bit thinner. That's more like it. Good. Okay. Let's concentrate on the shadows. Let's have a look at one of these guys' claws. So, because I'm using a lot of inks here, when you initially airbrush it, you may not get much of an appearance of change. It's important not to just blast the airbrush down and ruin it. Just listen to how I manipulate the airbrush, the brush control. So lots of tiny movements with the brush. Let's focus this in. Let's have a look at this claw. See, if we run the risk now, see it kind of spread out. If we continued on airbrushing, it would just splodge everywhere. Be patient. Give it a couple of seconds. And airbrush over it. Just averted disaster there. Oh, we just caused a disaster. It's not the end of the world. Any incidental marks like that. Very easy to clean up. So I'll continue airbrushing this into the shadow I've established by the absence of light. This combined with our base tone, combined with our highlights, gives the shadows a bit of a greasy looking appearance. So when we start adding the oils, when we start adding the inks, when we start using weathering powders on this, all these combined together will give a very, very lived-in appearance. We just back it out, don't want the camera doing some funny things with the focus. Let me move some of this crap out of the way first, so you can get a better view. What I can do, flip this thing over as well. You guys. Sylvan asks, what Legio will be doing for Titanicus? So I'll be buying a box set purely to paint up in different schemes. So I'll be painting a lot of different Legios for it. I want to develop that. For some of the videos, I don't want to give much away, but it'll be interesting with what Legios I choose to do. Sorry, I hate it when people do this. I hate it when I see this. People do this online, but I need to play this one quite close to my chest. Right. So I guess in answer to your question, all the Legios. I'll be doing all the Legios. What Legio are you planning to do, Sullivan? Or anybody else listening? What Legio are you planning to do with Titanicus? I know it's a big, big thing on the horizon. I know that Kill Team has just launched, just hit, and people are getting swept away. Well, I'm getting swept away with it as well. But I've got my eyes firmly set. I won't be producing many videos for Kill Team, purely because I think the tips and tricks developed in the other videos would serve you well developing your own Kill Team. That's not to say that won't happen in the future, but I'm trying to keep I'm trying to keep things free for Titanicus. What Legios are you guys up to? Oh, I might be interested in actually collecting a traitor Legio, because I collect loyalists for 30k. Why not go the dark side? The obvious one to do would be Legio Death Said. Legio Mortis. I know there's some talk that with the popularity of the game, inevitably I think we will see an Imperator Titan, but whether we'll see an Apocalypse class Titan is another matter. And Legio Mortis are one of the only known Legios to have that. This is only I just want to give a nice generalized spray and show. dark, dusty, rusty, all words I want associated with this paint scheme. So even though we started with quite a light base, you can see how it's all just kind of compressed into this very, very vicious looking machine. Here. No, it feels counterintuitive because this is the highlight, but I just want a little bit foregrounding for the weathering I'll put on it later. Johan, any Legio with white in it, brave man. Legio Mortis, yep. Furians and Mortis, yeah, do Mortis, dude. Kind of used as a bargaining chip, yep, yeah. So, with that done, I believe that is the video. So we'll be completing the rest of this off camera, purely how I did these. But as far as the instructional side of things go, that's it. Guys, thank you so much for joining in. I think we've had more people watching this than any other video, so I really, really appreciate you joining me for this. Once again, if you do want to improve your skills with painting, please get in touch. There is a space available. There hasn't been a space available for a couple of months now. That's just randomly come up like this. So do dive on it if you were thinking about taking the plunge. If you want a list of 4K HD tutorials, they're available. If you want PDF tutorials, 13 and counting, they're available, covering such things as a Pollux run through, how to get the best from fantasy skin tones, realistic skin tones, how you paint the Night Haunter. They're all there. Valdo is a big one. We also have the entire back history of the Seminar series, all like this, including Blood Angels, Paint in Black, and an extensive weathering tutorial. Again, thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Hope you have a good day and you don't fry too much in the heat.